Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the second part of the Solarpunk World Building that we have started in the previous video, and we were working on an aerial design, and in this part we will keep working on it for 35 to 40 minutes and I'll accompany you guys. I will also post the link of the first part somewhere around here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys will also enjoy this video as well. After this, we will probably start planning our next phase on design the buildings and the environments and stuff. But I will probably leave that to the next video. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment down below and let me know if you have any questions or any other techniques that you will approach to this environment. I read all the comments and I love seeing all the interest, and yeah, please keep going, please keep creating, and yeah, so we'll see you guys in the next part. So we are right now working on the hillside environment. It's very close to the volcanic mountain here. Well, while I was designing, I thought like, what if that volcano will explode? What will they do? But yeah, I think we can make up some ideas for it. We can change the materials of the buildings, or maybe add some precautions and stuff. Yeah, it's something that we can just make up on the go. I didn't want to go away from the aesthetics too much. I had some what's it called, like greenhouses above those buildings. I thought like, those might need some materials. You know, the ones that I used over there, some of them were like 100% metallic and zero roughness. So yeah, I thought it would be better for me to change them. But I also like those I don't know what those materials are called. I think it's like plasticky. So I will keep using that material for the whole buildings over there, just to have this feeling of like a canvas, but it's like almost translucent. That also gives this futuristic feeling that it might also be cultivating solar energy. So I'm just basically populating the environmental. The textures, they really change everything once you start putting them into the environment. Adding some extra small stuff there just to break the overall monotony, because it's all repeated one shapes. I have to break it somehow, so I have to just dissipate the whole composition a little bit to make the environment look a bit larger. I had this idea over there that the buildings are straight attached to the hillside, to the crevices and stuff, so I couldn't do it in 3D that good. I have to experiment with it a little bit, so I decided to just paint it over. It's right above the like upper right corner in the mirror board, as you see on the left. The lines that you see in between are not stairs, but they are the horizontal wind turbines that are using the channeled wind coming through the hill, or above the hill, or from down below. Also, the same problem as I had still persists, that I should add more levels to the environment to add a a bit of depth, so things become much more readable. So I'm adding some shadows and just fixing some parts. There were some parts that had like some rocks protruding from buildings. That happens in 3D, especially if you're rough. So just paint them out. If you want to see a difference, I think I will switch at some point just to see how it changes. But you can also go back in the video and just see how big of a difference it actually makes. Even right now, I think it already became like a lot more readable than before. Also, simplifying the rocks help a lot. So you can do it in two ways. One way is to add some shadows and just cover the whole like complexity under the shadow, and the other one is to just paint out the details. But also that will also mean something different, because you're changing the whole shape and the complexity of it, and there must be a reason why it's not that complex anymore. Like especially if there are some other parts in the environment that are a lot of like has a lot of detail, and over there it's complete straight. Like why is that texture gone? So yeah, those are the stuff that you should also think while you're doing this. Like a quite straightforward process actually. This part of the environment wasn't that problematic as much as the cost side. I think I was way too unsure about what to do for that part in particular. I thought like those big buildings are very big actually, comparing it to like one person size. I think one person is like what, 1 out of 10 like size of those buildings. So I thought like there must be some individual buildings as well. Yeah, I was trying to actually populate the environment even more. I thought like maybe I can grab those buildings and just photobash them over, but it didn't look that good. So I idea also didn't work, but also photobashing process did look kind of weird. It needed a lot of like paint overs and stuff, so I kind of ditched that afterwards. Also, it just became way too crowded than I had thought, so it just kept it as the previous way. The whole process is about adding and subtracting and playing around with the composition. and like you add one stuff and you had to do the other, like fix the other part. It's like breaking and rebuilding, and you have to somehow keep this balance. That's why, for example, after I added those platforms, I thought like maybe I can also add more platforms on the right just to balance the composition a little bit. Let's see if I will make a stupid mistake and just delete the ones on the left. I want to emphasize the feeling that those buildings are kind of covering one side of the volcano, but also turning around it a little bit, just to have a feeling that, okay, it's not only one small section, but also kind of turns around it a little bit. There must be also something that we didn't see on the other side. For the most part is currently visible to us. It just gives this sense that there is still a lot more for us to see that the environment's actually keeping, but still gives us enough information that we will be okay with whatever we have over here as well. But there's, of course, there's a lot more to explore. It's like creating expectations by teasing, but also showcasing and flexing on what that environment can actually give you. So the parts that are visible complements the parts that are slightly hidden from the audience. It's also part of the world building, actually. Like the world building that we know of aren't really giving 100% everything about it. It carefully hides the detail behind all those small cues, or like all those small nuances that are being shown on the screen or on paper or anywhere, but what the medium is. I think that's where this like oomph comes in. This video will probably come maybe 2 days after, or 3 days after the initial video that I've done, first part. After this, we will grab the buildings and assets that I also made up on Photoshop and break apart the stuff that are actually needed. I'm thinking about making one big building, one variant of it, maybe 2 smaller buildings, or 3 smaller buildings, and 5 smaller assets for each biome. I think I will, in each video coming after this, I might actually um, make one environment and just tease the, not tease, but showcase like my workflow behind it, because it will take a while for me to design everything. So I will create a whole set per week of buildings and then maybe put them into an environment. I also have to finish the car, by the way, like I started working on, because it's a part of the environment, so I should actually put it into the scene a little bit and like show that it's actually an exploration slide slash like racing title. So in the next video, I will probably create those assets. Like, I mean, plan. It will be about like putting everything on a lineup and doing quick sketches for each building in every biome, and then we will move on to the production. So what I'm adding right now over here is I added some lines there. Those lines are for us to direct our eye above, but also they are for carrying some weight or some materials and stuff from down below or just going downwards. It also applies for carrying human too. Like if you, it can be used as a transport, because of course there must be some old people living there, or you might be tired of walking above. So I thought like having some bit of like a rail system, or what's it called, like a wagon system going up and down can work out for this environment. I'm also adding some greenery because the previous one was lacking a bunch of greenery around. Of course there shouldn't be too much because it's near a volcano. It must be more mossy, I think that's what I'm imagining, than having trees and stuff all around. I'm closing and opening it just to see like what sort of difference I have done in my paint over, just to feel like, hey, I made a difference there. Just to feel good about it. Sometimes I just do that for a bit too long. I'm right now we are in the canyon environment. There isn't much over here to do actually, because most of it is still hidden. I was initially thinking about having this micro like not turbine, it's like they're like flipping cars that actually like turn around as the wind passes. It just covers the whole walls of the canyon. So I want to suggest them over here by just painting them over, because it takes a long time to model them, and also they are very environment dependent. So even in the next stage, I probably won't do them, but just suggest them in the key art for each biome. But some of them were too bright, so I'm going to add some shades on them. I'm also adding some texture onto the buildings, carved and built around the canyons, because they were lacking some textures. So I'm just painting over, just suggest there must be some dust, there must be the material itself, there's some sediments maybe also rolling over the buildings a little bit. So I'm creating this transition. Also, there was a very clear cut between the canyons and the plains above, so I'm trying to create this transition as well. One way to do it is also like finding the right reference or image to photobash, but I didn't want to be bothered by searching, like getting away from the Photoshop and just searching for it. I thought like also painting over could do. I'm playing around with light and shadow over there because things kind of look way too repetitive, and by just playing around with those lights and shadows, you can also play around with the framing and transition. I'm adding some distinction between two buildings there because they kind of looked like how can I say, like there wasn't enough depth, so I thought like maybe I can add some shadow to the one on the back. Then it didn't really work out that well, so I just left it that way. See, I'm going back and forth a little bit, and like zooming out, zooming in, analyze it just a wee bit, and paint over again. Adding some little bits of lights and shadows here and there just emphasize the depth of the environment. And so that was my goal in this little bit of a paint over session. It's also balancing the lights and shadows, you add some lights, but you also might have lit it too much, so you have to put another pass of shadows just to balance it a little bit. Now we are moving on to the volcanic environment. The buildings here are very rough because I was also tired while I was working on it, so I thought like maybe I can just fix it in the post. Adding some channels for the lava to be channeled under the buildings, so they could also be used for the energy purposes. So that would also help me to bind the environments together. Just it directs our eye and also gives more context to the piece, so it's something that I didn't want to miss. Also, there were some like missing textures and stuff. I'm trying to somehow fix them by painting over. Also, those buildings kind of were built under, like above, what's it called? There's like a little bit of a slope downwards, and they're built emerging from there. I want to suggest that by painting that part. Those trees were way too spherical, so I broke them by painting over some. I have a brush for that, so it's very easy. Also for stuff that are way too far away like this, I don't have to be very precious at all. I'm copying a reference here and just painting, but putting over just so I can get some textures from it. I'm trying to find the right way to photobash that. Went for the classical way, just shifting the values and just slapping it down. I didn't like the section in the middle, so I'm just painting over that because it was peeking out under the trees and it was kind of looking ugly even from this angle, so I had to fix that. And now it's good. I'm just painting them over. I'm like painting the mask, messing them in to the environment. Now I'm adding some more clouds. Since this part is way too far away from us, I thought like having clouds that are suitable, that has enough depth on them, would amplify the depth of the environment as well that we are in. And also I have to get this feeling that those disks above are actually above the clouds, so I should erase the clouds and like mask them out in the specific areas. I'm matching the colors a little bit. There's actually a color balance panel there. It's not visible. I have to fix that in the recordings. See, I'm adding and subtracting from the mask. Something that I like playing with. I don't want the clouds to go way too far away from the volcanic area. I want to keep that for almost for that area in specific, but there must be still like a little bit of a gradient to the other parts. I'm softening them up a little bit and also give this like painterly feeling. Using smaller brush for smaller, like further away, also further down. Think about this thing as a spherical. It's not planar, you know. So if it like you look at it from this way, and it's like it's further away, but also there's like it goes down as well. So there should be some other clouds down below too. So you should somehow think about it in 3D. Also, there are mirrors above the discs, so I will use that for increasing the amount of attention in those environments. I will use that for as focal point for that area specific. Also, the light will hit on those like mirrors, and they will also dissipate around, even on the clouds that are just below, you know. So I think it's a nice opportunity for me to give some extra touch on the environment itself. Now I'm adding a bit of tire tracks and stuff. Of course, it's not going to be that visible from this further away angle, but it kind of gives this feeling, even if you don't see it, that it's a lived-in environment. I'm going quite random there, thinking about where I will drive my car if I was there, if I had a 4x4. But that's the thing, you know, it's like if I was doing, I don't know, a speeder or something that's floating above the land, it wouldn't give me this big of an opportunity to give this feeling of lived in. I'm adding some post-processing, bringing in the clouds that I've done before, basically just fixing, rearranging the layer system a little bit. Because some clouds were kind of left below some of the layers. I'm adding some extra touches because I was so concerned about this like coastal side. Like the corner of my mind, I was still thinking about that part because it was looking way too empty, or like way too complicated and empty. It's not, I couldn't really put it into anywhere. So yeah, I had to fix that somehow. Also, it was, those spheres were looking way too samey, so I'm breaking them right now. Maybe integrate them to the environment, but break the spherical shape. Also in the concepts, it's not visible here. There were some buildings built on the platforms that are going to the fish farms, so I'm also adding them in. Also breaks that monotony a little bit. I thought those discs could give some shade to the environment because I thought it will be hot, like quite warm there. So it will also cool down the environment a little bit. And also I will use that as an opportunity to add more solar panels. I'm looking for a similar reference that I have for the ones that are above the clouds, but in a more spherical shape and in an angle that actually works better for me. Trying to find the right way to put into the scene. It's kind of matching the perspective matches somehow. It is kind of skewed, but it's fine. I can get away with this. I think they were picking out way too much. I will fix their values. Yeah, I was just playing around if I could break those solar panels a little bit. didn't really look that good. The perspective wasn't really matching in the initial stage, so I'm trying to fix that a little bit. The discs that I have done before weren't really matching. It was looking weird. It's like one part looks very flat, the other part looks very like almost vertical. So the perspective was kind of weird there. I just tried to fix it on the way. Yeah, I was also thinking about maybe adding solar panels on the sea. Then I decided to not to go for it. And you see, it's not like a straight process, but it has a lot of branching stuff. The whole like thought process just goes all over the place sometimes, and then you have to go back and just get your mind together and just keep working on it somehow. Generally, it just makes more sense to like separate it into different processes and like think about them in that way. It's like getting more organized about your approach, but I'm generally like quite chaotic in that sense. I'm adding some power grids. I don't think they will be actually visible in real life, but somehow showing them in this aerial shot would make sense to emphasize the feeling that those environments are somehow connected to each other in terms of creating electricity or power and just sharing them together. It gives us democratic feeling. So I just added those blue lines. Also, that line goes about just kind of gives this feeling that okay, there's more to see, but yeah, it's not really there yet. It also helps me to gather the whole environment together, like fix the composition of it. I'm trying to also somehow integrate it into the environment, but still have this give this clue that it's there. Also adding those like sparks all over, give this energy to the environment, just like blowing in some parts and like have this little bits of sparks, just gives this energy to it. So I actually like adding some color dodge effects still. We are living in 2025 and I still put some color dodges. The direction of those lights, like highlights, also affect a lot on your viewing direction too. So I like playing around with that. I'm adding some filters right now. I usually use lens correction to add a little bit of chromatic aberration, sharpen, and one layer of 100% gray, like 50% gray with some noise filter on it, and then use it as like a suitable blending mode, and just decrease the opacity a little bit to merge everything together. It's like a layer that just binds everything. Same for this as well. It's like a lighten layer with some blues, light blues, lighter blues. So yeah, this is the back and forth, before and after. So yeah, this was actually it for this week's video. It was about us approaching the aerial view of our Solarpunk world to get an overview about how things might look like, how the environment might feel like, and how we can create a world and like start polishing it and start using it as a get-go. I hope you guys enjoy the process. It's always good to go back to the Photoshop after just pulling and pushing vertices in Blender, and have some freedom of putting some pencil and paper. So I really enjoy doing that sometimes, and just breaks the monotony of using Blender and just slows down. Like it's like playing around with the thinking process, you know. Just you kind of balance the fast thinking and slow thinking while using different types of softwares. So I really like that. Yeah. So yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for keeping me company throughout this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that will inspire you for what you're producing yourself. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. I really enjoy seeing how interested you are in this project. And yeah, in the next video I will probably be going a little bit more technical about the buildings that we are going to design, or the environments that we are going to design, and break down the tasks that we are going to tackle. And yeah, I will see you then. I wish you all a great week, and take care, stay safe, and yeah, stay creative. All right, bye-bye.